everybody, today's lesson is about how to draw the whole block. So the thing that we're trying to learn from this activity is how to drill holes and how to read different thread notes. So the first thing I'm going to do is in this video or this activity, what we're going to do is we're going to exactly copy this drawing that is the drawing template. Now, I'm going to show you how to set this up and how to start drilling the holes and how to read the hole menus. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the block. And I'm just going to do a rectangle here. The rectangle dimensions per the sheet, they're on the sheet. This is going to be 12 inches. And then it is 3 inches high. So let me zoom out a little bit. 3 inches high. All right, I'm going to finish the sketch and then I'm going to cut out. There's like a little notch, which you guys will see here on the drawing sheet if you look at the drawing. So I'm going to, let me extrude it first. I'm going to extrude it. It's 2 inches deep. So 2 inches and click OK. And now I'm going to do a new sketch and cut out that little notch. So I'm going to draw a rectangle here. Oh, I didn't grab it. I did not link it to the corner. So let me link it, get the green dot, make sure you're linked. This dimension is going to be 9 inches. So this is, this one's going to be 3 inches, sorry. And then the height of this notch is going to be 1.5 inches. And all I'm doing is reading off of this drawing that I've provided for you. So this is 1.5. Now I'm going to finish sketch and I'm going to extrude and cut back. And click OK. Now I have the block. And I'm actually going to drill the holes along this top section. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a new sketch on the top. And you can see by looking at the drawing that the first hole is right in the center and it's 1 inch from the end. So I'm going to use the point command here, point, and I'm going to draw 1 inch in. Whoops, that was not good. I'm going to use the point command and I'm just going to set it down and then I'm going to dimension it. Sorry, I was trying to do it backwards. And this is going to be 1 inch and it needs to also be 1 inch from the side as well. Okay, so now I have my first point and now I'm going to finish my sketch and drill the first hole. So I'm going to use the hole command and I can see that the first hole on my hole block per the thread code is a 0.38 inch diameter through hole. So if we look at this little menu, this is going all the way through. It's a simple hole. There are no threads. We want it to go through everything. So this allows you to set a distance. This is through all. And then this goes to a certain distance. And then this down here is the diameter. And the one we want is 0.38. I'm going to click OK, and I've got my first hole. Now, before I go any further, I want to save this and set up my drawing file so I can check my work as I'm going. So I'm going to do File, Save As, make sure I'm going to my H drive folder, and I'm going to call it Hole Block. And I'm going to save it. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to set up a new drawing file because the problem is if I zoom in and look at this drawing sheet here on the side, I can see a section view. So I can see what the holes look like on the inside. I would like to be able to do that as I go along so that I know that I am doing it correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a new sheet. Now this is the only time ever I'm going to ask you to do a standard.idw sheet. Usually we use this McNeil sheet A. This time and this time only, we're using standard.idw. The reason for that is because otherwise everything's going to look too big if we use a regular sheet. So this is actually a larger piece of paper. And what I'm going to do now is here I cannot really fill out the title block at all. I am going to do my base view. And instead of doing a regular front view, I actually want my base view to be the top. So I'm going to click that, and I'm actually going to then shift it up. So get that, get the red frame around it, and then just drag it up. And now I'm going to create a section view. I'm going to put it over a little bit. I need to be able to put some dimensions around this and everything, so I want to have a little bit of room. Now I'm going to create a section view and actually section this block and project these views downward. So I'm going to click section, and I want to get this green dot over here. So then once I get the green dot, I'm going to go a little bit out to the left. Now I'm going to, for the first time, click, left click, draw straight across, left click, right click, continue, then pull it down, left click, and set it there. So now I have this section AA, and it's got the hatch mark, so you can see it's a section view. Now I'm going to do projected, and off of this section view, I'm going to project over here, if I can get it to project, the isometric view. Right click, or left click, right click, create. Okay, so now I can see as I go what the holes look like from the inside. So every time I add a hole, this is going to show up here on this sheet. So I'm just going to keep toggling back and forth. Okay. You'll notice on the sheet, the distance over to the next hole, it says 1 inch TYP. What that TYP means, it's typically 1 inch. So that means basically they're all going to be spaced 1 inch apart. So now I'm going to make the point for my second hole. So I'm just going to set the point down and dimension. So I want this to be right on the 1 inch line. And then I'm going to also dimension from here to the end of the part, and that should now be 2 inches. And that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to draw that second hole. The second hole is a blind hole, so it's a 1/2 inch and it's 0.75 deep. So let's click this. Now instead of a simple hole, well, we're still going to use simple hole, but it is a blind hole. So we want to go down to a certain distance. And we're not selecting a surface, we just want a distance. So we're going to select that first one. The distance, as you can see by the code, is 0.75 inches. So back that up and do 0.75. And the diameter was 0.5. So we want to change this to 0.5. Okay, now you can see we have the ability here, we could change the type of tip that's on this hole. We can see from the picture that this is the pointy tipped hole, so we're just going to leave that. We don't want to change the angle or anything. And now I'm going to click OK. And now I've drilled the second hole, so I'm going to click back over to my sheet. And I can see, yep, that looks exactly like it does on the sheet. Okay, so we can go on, and let me drill a couple more holes just to show you. I'm not going to drill all of them, but I'm going to show you a couple of the tricky ones. So if I look at hole number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is a threaded hole. So I'm going to do a new sketch. Now, some people want to do a sketch and do all the points at one time. You do not want to do that because every time you drill a hole, all the sketch disappears. So just do one at a time. So I'm going to do another point here. That's going to be the 6th hole over, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's do the dimension. Here to here is going to be 1 inch still. And here to here is going to be 6 inches. Okay, Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this sketch and drill that hole. And we're going to put threads on this hole. So that's why I wanted to show you this one. So as a threaded hole, we are going to use this tapped hole type. There's nothing at the top, no counterbore or countersink. And it's ANSI unified screw thread type. That's what we're going to look like. Let me see what we've got here. We've got 1/2 20 UNF2B. UNF2B. So let's look and see what our options are. Yep, this is going to be correct. 1/2. 1/2 is the diameter, so we want to leave that at 1/2, even though it's in decimal equivalent, but it's still 1/2. We're looking for 1/2 1/2 20 UNF. So I click down here 1/2 20 UNF. Now, if I don't have the diameter right, I'm not going to be able to select that. The threads go all the way down, and you can see that this is going to go through all. So that's not going to give me the opportunity to do a different type of point on the hole. And I'm going to click OK. And now let me click back over here. I've got my hole block. Now, my threads aren't showing up like they are on the template. So I can right click and I'm going to edit view. And I think I need to do this hidden line version and click OK. Let's see if that changed it. Nope. Okay, that seemed to change it. Yes, I can see the threads. I'm zoomed out a little and I couldn't really see them. Now when I zoom in, I can see them. So you will want to check that to make sure you can see the threads. Okay, last but not least, let's try this last hole down at the end. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And it's 1 inch from the end. So I'm going to go back to my hole block, do a new sketch. I'm going to go 1 inch from the end. So I'm going to put my point down again, dimension it. It's going to be 1 inch from this end as well. And I'm going to finish sketch. And now this is going to be a countersink hole. So, or a counter bore hole. Hang on just a second here. I'm going to drill the hole. It's not spot face, it's counter bore. Sorry, I'm saying the wrong word. So it's going to be a counter bore hole. So it's going to have that bigger opening at the top and then the smaller opening or the smaller hole underneath. And it's threaded. So the big part, the top part, has a diameter of 1 inch and the depth of 0.25. So now I'm looking at this top diameter. This should be 1 inch. And the depth is 0.25 already. And then the diameter below that is a 1/4 inch, 20 UNC. So this is going to become a 1/4 inch, which is 0.25. 1/4 20 UNC, that's what we want. And it goes all the way through the whole block. So I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to check one more time over here. And that looks correct. Now, there are a couple of ones that are a little confusing. Right here in the middle of the document, you've got this one, which is 1.5 deep. That's going to be this hole here. And the 0.75 that's shown on the thread code is showing how deep the threads are. You can't really tell how long it is except that you're looking at this block here. And then just make sure you're paying attention. Is it counter bore or counter sink? Excuse me, I keep reversing it. Counter bore or counter sink? And does it have the pointed tip? And how far do the threads go? Then you will want to dimension your drawing. Once you get everything done, you're going to want to dimension it. To do that, you're going to go to the Annotate tab, and you're going to have to create dimensions using the hole and thread note. I will show you that in a separate video.